Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is July 31st, 2017, and we're here this evening with our physicist and special guest, Jeff P. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Doctor, how about you?
I'm very well, thank you, Scott. And how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to be talking about here is a little bit of the deception that's going on. And when I mean deception, you hear me refer to this quite often. I'm referring to NASA and the deception of what they're doing with some of the space modeling sites that we go to, SETI, Stereo, the SDO. You know, I've been documenting all of this missing time that's been coming up and what they're possibly hiding. And Jeff's going to talk about what he's been keying in on for many, many months now. And that's the deception in the sky. And, you know,
Yeah.
I mentioned today, you know, people email me all the time and they say, oh, Scott, you know, I'm looking at the sky with my binoculars and, you know, I got my telescope out and, you know, I can't see anything. Well, you know, there's probably a lot of reasons why you're not seeing anything. And that is the deception in the sky. And you know what, Doctor? I think that might be the lead title for your next book, The Deception in the Sky.
Yes, that sounds good, Scott.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what I want to do real quick. Excuse me. I want to share my screen. And just before we started, I took 3 photographs of the sun. And these are the craziest looking photographs that I have taken. I mean, I just downloaded in my computer. They haven't been touched. They haven't been changed. They haven't been doctored, nothing. You're looking at it raw. Look at that thing. That doesn't even look real. Do you guys see that?
Look at that, yes.
Wow. Hey, that looks like what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know how we're starting to see like these circular objects around the sun and why we get like the light like that.
Oh my goodness. Look
that
at
doesn't
that.
even look real. I took this photograph, I'd have to say about 15 minutes ago. Just before we went online, I took this photograph. I just downloaded it. Let's look at the next one. I took 3 of them. This is the next one. And I have not touched these photographs. No lighting, no contrast, no nothing. I just uploaded them as we were going to begin this live stream. Here's the third one. Look at that. What the?
Well, that's not the sun, that's for sure.
Come on, man. You know, what the heck? That looks like a freaking spaceship.
Yes. Well, that's what the sun basically is nowadays. It's probably powered by some kind of craft. So
Well, I still say, you know, that the real sun's still out there, but at a much lower orbit we have the fake sun. So
yes, that's true. That this thing is basically in the sun, in front of the real sun, but it's
right. Notice how yellow it is along the edges, though. Have you noticed? And then you got
it's got 1, 2, 3. It's got 4 freaking colors.
Yeah.
Let's do some enhancements here real quick. Let's see. We might find something live on the air here. I'm going to adjust the contrast here a little bit. That's a spaceship.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
look at that.
A lot of people are saying this is a spaceship. You know, I'm not so sure about that, but man, these days you don't know anymore.
See, this is what we see from Earth, everybody. This is what you see. You see the overexposure, and you ask me the question, why can't I see anything? Well, this is why. When they turn the exposure up on that monster in the sky, that's what you see. But in real life, that's what's there. You see that?
Yeah.
That's what you see. That's what's there. Look at that thing. I just took these pictures.
The creamy white center, the yellow oak.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Why are we having all those colors on a single sun? Shouldn't that be just one solid yellow color?
Yeah.
You know, I know God has something to do with this with me, because I just woke up from a long nap because I haven't been getting much sleep. And immediately I go for the camera and I go directly outside. I'm half asleep. This is like 15, 20 minutes ago.
Mm,
And immediately, you know, there's something in my brain telling me
yeah.
to take these photographs. Take these 3 photographs immediately. And look what I catch.
Yeah. Do you know what I see? The colors around it, it's yellow and then a type of orangey magenta. And that's usually the colors, the color of the sky. That we see at sunset. It's this orangey magenta color, and I always say, well, that's the object that is somewhere close to the sun. It's illuminating the atmosphere, and that's why the atmosphere looks that color. So now they seem to have added those colors to this, to the devices in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And probably in an effort to hide these objects that would be in these colors, you see.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed is, you guys familiar with the rose lens pedal, right?
Yeah.
Where I show you, and where I discovered in the time-lapse videos, that people are picking up these perfectly spaced red petals. Now, I have never seen that. And how come I seem to only be observing it below the equator? So
that is
particularly
strange.
Australia. And my suspicions are, I think I get Australia because the other southern places are they're not advanced with all the internet to get those camera shots that we could get maybe from Africa or the lower sides of Mexico and Chile. And
yeah, it could also have something to do with the kind of objects that you'd see in the sky from the southern hemisphere that may be different from what you would see in the northern hemisphere. And so it could be that those magenta kind of lights they have, petal-like, would better hide the kind of object that would be in the sky in the southern hemisphere. So that's a possibility.
That is crazy looking.
yeah.
You know, and I was actually able to see this with my naked eye.
Wow.
You know, I did blind myself a little bit, but I mean, I looked right at it from my back deck, and you know, I had the camera in my hand, so I set up, you know, let's snap 3 quick pictures before this live stream, just in case. And look what we have here. This is by far the craziest photograph of the sun that I've ever taken in my life. You can see the pink lens flare right here where my cursor is, and it's little gray or, you know, green dot right there. Look at this thing. I mean,
yeah, I see people are taking pictures with all different types of cell phones, and it's got like, it's lopsided and just some really bizarre pictures I see all the time. You know, I don't bother posting it, but I know it's not normal.
Hey, listen, you want to see bizarre pictures? Spend a day in my email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are
you guys ready to see some of the videos that I got there?
What have you been finding, Jeff? I know you did a couple of videos. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share here real quick.
Okay. I'm going to okay, let me turn on my screen share. Let me know when you guys see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to just kick this right off to high gear here. So I've got some wonderful subscribers. You don't really want any credit, but I think it just gives it validation that I'm not making this stuff up. This here is a time lapse of what I believe to be the lens array. And I'm just going to jump into it. So let's just play this full speed, and we're going to slow it down because you're going to see the insanity here. Let's enlarge this. And keep your eye focused where my cursor is right here, just as before the sun gets eclipsed by like an unseen, invisible object. So I could pause it even at this spot right here. You guys see that right where my cursor is? You got to play that, slow that one down, because that. I'll see if I can get. I'm going to slow this down. And notice these chemtrail planes just lands it right through the where these 2 discs are. which seems to be filtering out the true sunlight and giving us like the fake cloud. And just have to be a little patient here to get that time. At first, I didn't see it. You'll miss it if you didn't if you go through it too fast. And I think it starts to appear any second. It's coming in. Right there.
Oh,
Let me back
yeah.
that up a little bit. Right here.
Wow.
Look at that clear, defined circular edge on both points. It just like eclipses the sun. Now, if that ain't crazy enough, you guys didn't even see what I've got in store for you on the subscriber pictures here. So here are these pictures. Okay, here we go. Behold. Right? Does that look normal?
Not at all.
Taking sequential shots.
My
As the sun was setting, we could see the next shot. As it was, actually, these are some of the thumbnails. Here's the next shot that was made during the sunset. And then the last shot we had, I wish I would have had this on video, but these are still shots that were taken of that same sky. I would have loved to have seen that on video, but I believe in the future somebody's going to catch it, and we're going to see. I think this is some of the reason why we get these rays that we're seeing is because of this lens effect, which is filtering out what we want to see on the other side. I believe it to be actually part of Project Ruby. Again, I believe the right first discovered it when I thought these were planets on this time-lapse video over Australia. Here we could see the red lens puddle effect and what appears to be these lenses in the sky. And I had another video that showed a huge distortion showing even the fabric of this thing. And we could see the timely of this light here. Zoom in that. And down here, we could see it in a perfect rhythm as this thing is spinning in front of the sun, which that's what I got. And let's see if I had a I think I have something playing in the background here.
Oops, I think we lost Jeff for a second.
I think we did.
I think he exited himself out of there.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
He had something playing in the background and he went to exit out of it. And
okay.
He exited himself right out of the live stream. But anyway, going back to those pictures of the sun that I took, I mean, I'm going to head back to those real quick while Jeff is regaining himself. Those are pretty wild.
Yes, they are.
I mean, that's just crazy looking. I mean, that doesn't even look real. I mean, that to me, that looks like some kind of freaking extraterrestrial starship. And again, that's no coloring, no contrast, no nothing. That's just a raw photograph I took 15 minutes before we started this live stream.
Sorry, I lost you guys.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
What was the last thing you heard? I'm talking to myself.
You said something about you had something playing in the background, and I think you exited yourself right out of the picture.
Ah, okay. Well,
I think you were going to share a video.
Yeah, there was a couple of more pictures I was showing that coincides with this. I would get. Okay. Sorry about the noise. All right.
I didn't hear anything.
Real quick again.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Okay. Okay. So again, we had the sun setting. Again, this gold fiery phoenix, I believe, is the same idea. We have one lens setting above this, hiding all this light. And then it gets even crazier. I believe the same lens array as it sets right across these lenses. We have a lens here and here and here. That's my theory. What I believe with this dark object is the craziest one. And then I don't know if I showed you these lens arrays. These were taken in sequence. It looked like the collapsing convergence of light taken from the sky.
Oh, come on. Where
Oh,
in the hell did you get that photograph?
my goodness. That's amazing.
That's from a camera, right? And then
Where
you can
was
see.
that taken?
Yeah.
This was a subscriber photo, and you know, I get so flooded with these, and finally I get something just precious, and I'm like, you know, if you're the one that sent this in, you know, send me another email. I'll give you the credit if you want it. This blows me
Wow.
away. About again, here is some more evidence of the lens array. And I believe that we may be seeing what they call like
Yeah,
these craters. Maybe the signals actually rotate. So I'm saying what we're looking at is an out of focus planet through the lens.
Yeah, I think so too.
And so
Well, if they are using the lenses, it's to hide something, that's for sure.
yeah, exactly. You know, there was even a Christian guy that said the Lord gave him a dream that he saw Planet X. And he described it. He said it was so incredible looking. He couldn't draw a picture of it, but he described it as something like a one-way mirror. And I've never met the guy. It's just interesting to hear a collaboration of what I've been doing all along. And then
Wow.
one more video that was captured. Let's see if I can pull this up. You still see my screen, correct? Let's see if I can. I'm gonna just have to replay my video. The best way to pull this up. So I had the lens array here that we saw in Australia. This one here. Check this one out.
Wow.
Kind of like the same idea. We see it appears to be, I think this is the lens itself, that instead of bending the light, it's just lighting up itself. Because whatever object it is too close to it for it to hide it anymore. It had to be getting larger.
Yeah.
So it can never no longer bend the light around whatever it is it's trying to hide. So now it's lighting it up. Pretty insane, huh?
It is.
That's pretty crazy. I did a video on that and I got slammed to hell.
You know what? I saw that and I was like, wow, where are you getting this stuff? Because you know, it just validated everything I've been chasing, why they're hiding this stuff.
Excuse me 1 second. Hey, listen, everybody, everybody listening to the video, do me a favor. Type in what country you're viewing this live stream from. Just type it for me in the chat right now. Because as of lately, there are some people that cannot hear the video, the live stream. Some people can't view the live stream and the chat. So type in the comment section, or not the comment section, the live stream chat. Just type in what country you're in for me. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, cool. I guess that's all I had to show for now is with the lens array. I was just kind of what your thoughts on that was. And I do believe it.
Well, whenever I did my video, when I did my video on what was captured down there in Mexico, the trolls came out of the sewer system. They came out of the toilets. They came out of the depths of hell, and naturally, that dipshit down in New Zealand, Daza, he came out. And they're all yelling. The only thing they got is, that's a lens flare. That's a lens flare. Okay.
Yes.
That's pretty much all these tards really have to say. But I don't see how that could be a lens flare. And, you know, I've gone over the whole lens flare routine. I've done videos on it, the whole 9 yards. These people don't even know the definition of a lens flare. You know, there are graphic artists out there that create lens flares and they sell them for animated video production. And in no way, shape, or form do any of these videos or photographs that we're showing, they are not defined as a damn lens flare. Then they start using the word refraction. Well, first of all, look up the word in the dictionary, refraction. Okay, none of these people are professional photographers. So if you're not a professional photographer and you don't know the definition of the meanings of these lens flares, refractions, reflections, ghost images, I mean, they're just making up terminology as they go on. And the common viewer thinks, oh, that sounds like a fancy word. maybe they're right.
Oh yeah, artifact too. What is that supposed to mean?
Oh yeah, camera artifact, digital artifact. I mean, come on, man.
Glitch. Right. What I like the one is the Photoshop when you're showing videos. How do you Photoshop a video?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, they think that I make millions of dollars from YouTube, and that I have the spare money to go buy a Photoshop program. Pretty much every time that I edit something, I do like Prep does, and I'll play with the color and contrast while I'm doing the live stream, or I'll let someone know if I'm showing them the photograph. And some of these images that we've had of lately from the Soho coronagraphs and stereo and Secchi, I'm learning very quickly that if I do capture something or see something odd, I'll take a screenshot of it. And I have 3 programs now that I go to. 2 of them are online, and they are absolutely phenomenal. And they give me a wide variety of options to look at these pictures. And you can literally take them apart. Like the small objects that I found around the sun this morning, I was actually able to remove the cloud formation around this object and see only the object inside. So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, for all of you that didn't see these, I'm going to go ahead and show them to everybody real quick. And I'll show you what I mean, because this is the deception from these space agencies. Let me just pull these up real quick. What do I do with them? Here, we'll just start with this one. Now, you're going to see some pixelization because these objects were very tiny compared to the sun.
Yeah.
Now, these were gaseous clouds. Now, I did some things with these photographs with using one of my programs so I can try to bring out the small object that was there. And these were 2 objects to the upper right-hand corner about the 1 o'clock position on the sun. And I'll even show you the video. It was captured on stereo in the 304 angstrom video model. But there's your 2 objects. So,
yeah.
And as soon as I captured these and did a video, they screwed around with the video. Now, I was able to take out a good bit of the cloud, showing clearly 2 spheres, 1, 2. And these weren't the only 2 objects that were passing by. And then later on, they went ahead and they sped the video up at the end, so you can't really see it, and you won't be paying attention. Now, this is the upper right-hand corner, and this is a short while later. It's the upper right-hand corner of the sun, about the 1 o'clock position. Here's our object again with the gassy cloud. It's going to be a little pixelated on your screens, but that's because the object was very small. But there you go. Dead center, gaseous cloud. There you go.
Yeah. Looks interesting, Scott.
And I'll show you the original video, and I'll show you where they're at. So the fact of the matter is, they're there. There's a lot of objects there. Now this one a little bit harder to see because it's going to pixelize, but there's an object right here, right there, and there's a massive gaseous cloud. There may even be something in the center here, Doctor. What do you think? Because that's a perfectly spherical formation in the middle of that gas cloud. So,
yeah, this is the type of formation that you'd expect from the envelope of these stellar cores, as I've mentioned many times. That does look very round there. So, and they are dark. They don't emit light, but they start out emitting light from these envelopes. So it could be that's what we have here. It's one of the envelopes of one of these stellar remnants. What else would we expect to be so close to the sun? it has to be one of these objects that are attracted to the sun and that are at home in this sort of environment. And that bright part could be either a very small one that is attached to a larger one, or it could be the actual stellar core associated with this whole cloud. I cannot be sure of that.
Yeah, I couldn't judge the distances on that one piece of stereo footage, but they're small, and I'll show everybody. I showed it in my video today, and here's another one with just some definition showing the different colors of this gas cloud. And it actually came out very, very well. And bingo,
yes.
There you go. I mean, it almost looks like there's two objects. I can't zoom it in too much more than that. But you could see a kind of a discoloration of a semicircular object. It pixelates, so it's going to look square. But inside of the square, you could see a perfectly round white sphere right here. I know it looks kind of candy-ass to everybody, but, these were very, very small objects. And on the stereo imaging, the 304 angstrom, you'll see where it gets just naturally pixelated. Now, this was an inverted photograph, and this right here really, really tells a lot because it confirms my different colors of gas within that cloud and then the solid object dead center in the middle of it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one there, Doctor? That looks...
Yeah, that looks amazing. That definitely looks like one of these diffuse clouds, because when these stars move from the red giant to the white dwarf phase, they of course lose huge amounts of their outer layers of gas, which then forms this kind of irregular shaped cloud. And then the actual star, the stellar core would have an envelope around it that's not irregularly shaped. It's usually disc-shaped. So what we could have here is just one of these stellar cores with an envelope emitting light from either the envelope or from the core or from both. And then the more diffuse, irregularly shaped cloud further out. This could be exactly what we have here, because this cloud is sort of irregularly shaped. It's not clearly defined as a disk or a sphere or anything like that. It's irregular. But I think it's amazing that we're finding more and more of these objects close to the sun. We're getting more and more evidence of it. And people who say that it's a lens flare, it's laughable, because a lens flare is a secondary image, yes, of a real object. So if even a lens flare is evidence that there is an object, because if you see a lens flare that has grooves on its surface and has obviously yellow material attached to it, then, if that's a lens flare, then there must be an object just like it somewhere. So either way, the object is there. So, yeah, these are very interesting.
There's no doubt. I mean, I don't have to sell myself on any of this. This is another black and white.
Mm-hmm.
You can clearly see it. It's very well illuminated. I documented it. Now, here was the actual screenshot that I took. And you can see, now I'm going to explain something, ladies and gentlemen. You see all this interference around the sun, all of these square, jagged edges. It's basically showing you the corona. Whenever you look at the stereo ahead EUVI in the 304 angstrom view, okay, you don't always see this strange, large pixelization around the sun showing the corona. It's usually relatively smooth. Excuse me. The only time that you see something like this is when there is interference. When the sun is being interfered with, the sun starts going crazy. It starts emitting all kinds of energy, which then affects the sensors on these cameras, on the stereo and the Soho, all of them. It creates an internal disturbance with these cameras. And this is what you see. Now, you're seeing the disturbance, and what do you see in the big yellow circle? Looky, looky what we got there.
Yes.
You know, how does Emeril Lagasse, the food chef, the TV chef, bam! There you go. Okay, now, folks, that was not the only object that was passing by. This was very, very early this morning. You could see the timestamp there in the corner. Here, let me shrink it down for you. It was today, the 31st, 6:16 a.m. UTC time. Okay, I was up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and once again, I was researching this. Now, pay very close attention to what you see right there. You see where my cursor is? I hope you could all see that white sphere right there. That's all I could zoom in, but it's there. And then you wonder why the sun is reacting this way. Well, this was not the only object passing through, and they deleted 4 hours of footage later on, and then they sped the video up real fast so you can't see these objects moving by. But guess what? Scott beat them to it.
Yes.
You know what? I've seen them do that on the web cameras too, deleting days and hours.
Yeah, and they got pissed. They got real pissed. Well, they got my email. I know that much. But what I'm going to do real quick, give me a second. I'm going to pull up. The actual video. I can figure out what I'm doing here. And it was quite interesting.
It's very interesting, Scott, that we're finding more and more evidence. Every time we look at images of the sun, we're finding more of these objects. And I think they're getting easier and easier to pick out. That there are so many of them. Sometimes I'm surprised by how many. And they must be affecting the sun, as you say. And the way these objects affect the sun is they connect magnetically to the sun. So they basically pull out the sun's magnetic fields towards the surface of these objects. And then solar particles spiral along these magnetic fields and move from the sun to this object. And possibly also particles from the object transfer to the sun with the returning magnetic field lines, because they must form a loop. So then you would have a particle flux transfer between the two objects. And then the object absorbs the sun's plasma and it transfers its own plasma back towards the sun. And that would, of course, decrease the energy of the sun, and it's possibly another way that they can gain energy. Because they gain whatever energy the particles in the sun have. So yeah, so this is what is happening, and when that happens, of course, you destabilize the surface of the sun because it's losing particles. So this would lead to an object, if it was close to the surface of the sun, then possibly, if it was already a slightly unstable area, you might get a CME, which is basically an acceleration of plasma from the surface of the sun. It would probably become easier for these CMEs to happen because of this destabilization and the pulling of the sun's magnetic field out from its surface.
So I got something for you. You guys, I'm not going to name the YouTube guys, but he's got a pretty big channel. And he was saying that those were bubbles. Did you guys hear that comment?
Bubbles?
Bubbles.
What were bubbles?
Yeah, that brown dwarf, he called it a bubble.
What brown dwarf?
Okay, BP Earthwatch said it.
Who was he referring to?
He was referring to, he goes, that was a gas bubble.
You mean
he's calling it a gas bubble. I see.
Wait a minute. Let's back the truck up a little bit here.
You'll have to go all the way back to your comment section, and you'll see it in there. I made some remarks about it, and I was like, "You kidding me, man?"
Yeah,
BP Earthwatch, he's trolling my YouTube channel.
He did. A bubble. But many people fire back at really bubbles on a sun. How does that work? How is that theoretically possible? Just curious.
But which
What's
photograph was he talking about? This big blue object we found?
The last time I was on your Hangouts, we showed like this animated video of the brown dwarf at the 7 o'clock position.
Oh, you mean when it came through the sun's corona on the SDO?
Yes. He called that a bubble. It was bubbling out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, what would a gas bubble be doing in the sun's corona?
Right.
And perfectly
Plasma.
spherical.
And I didn't know that he was a solar physicist anyways, but I guess he's the expert, right?
But listen, I want you guys to pay very close attention to this video. Pay close attention to the timestamp and look at the reaction of the sun. Watch the motion. You see the last part of it, how it speeds up real quick. Okay, now look at how jostled the timestamp is.
Wow.
Okay,
wow.
You're looking
it's
at
skipping and slowing down.
Yeah, you're looking at the back side of the sun. You're looking at the major sunspot that's going to be coming towards us in the next 7 to 10 days. We're going to be dealing with this for I don't know, maybe a week to 10 days. It's going to be a very trying situation. But
yeah, I
they
think
tried to hide these objects. Now, I'm going to show you how I caught them. And that looked like a massive X flare, by the way.
Yes, it did.
Now, I'm just going to stop this, and I'm going to go all the way through. Oops, let me back up here. Okay, because here's where you start to see the objects, and this is what pissed them off.
Oh, okay. Yes. Look, there are several there.
Here's where I picked them off. I got one here, I got one here, and I got one here. Okay, but now notice the reaction of the sun. It's no longer smooth around the corona. You're looking at interference. You're looking at the reaction. And this is where the beginning of the timestamps disappear. And this is when they speed the timestamp up to the point where you can't even notice it, even in super slow motion. But I have a hawk eye.
Yes.
I notice these things very, very quickly. So what I'm going to do, give me a second here. I'm going to blow this up so everybody can see with their own eyes. I'm going to blow it all the way up to 500. We'll examine this together like I do. Okay, there you go. There's one, there's two. Now, I've already shown you these photographs as I have screen captured each one of them. Do you see where this one is? This one is on the edge of the sun's corona, right there. That is probably why that these objects are these gas clouds are being created. Look how close they are.
Yeah.
What are those bubbles? Tiny bubbles in
no,
my
of course
wine.
Not. As you can see, they're the same color as the sun's corona. So they made out of the same kind of plasma, or they're emitting the same kind of ultraviolet light. They're emitting ultraviolet light like the sun's corona is emitting. That's why they look that color.
Now that's as much as I could zoom in. But once again, you've already seen this photograph close up. There you go. There's your object right in the center. It's enveloped in the cloud. And once I played with the contrast, I got more of the cloud that came out. It's completely enveloped, and it's green, it's blue, it's red, and then you have the white illuminated object right dead center. Is there another one down here? No, it's in the next frame.
Hey Scott, when you said you saw interference, would that interference look like water react, like wavelength interference?
Here, I'll show you.
I'm just curious because, like, when two magnetic waves collide, I'm wondering sometimes you get that, like, you're looking at water and you drop two pebbles at two different, and they intersect at right angles.
Yeah.
Yes, they interfere.
Okay, this is what I mean by the interference. You see, whenever you're looking at the 304 angstrom, this is what you normally see. You see how the corona of the sun, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, the lines are relatively straight and perpendicular from the surface. And
okay, now watch. We'll just let it play. Now these objects come in.
Okay,
see, here's one here.
Yeah, that's interference, all right.
It's there.
Look at that.
One
That's
just passed by. Oh, I have it in reverse. No wonder.
Wow.
I have to step back on it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, see, you really need to show that off, buddy, because
There it is,
that's a lot, man.
Look
That's
at
just
that.
That's August 1st. See? And, oops, there it is. You see what's there, right?
Yeah.
Now watch.
Nice.
There's one right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's one right there.
magnetic hiccup.
There's one right there.
Wow.
There's one right
I
there.
wonder if that was a magnetic force greater than the sun.
There's another one right up there in the corner.
Yeah, probably. This is why the sun seems to jolt at times.
And then there's three. One,
Yeah, exactly.
two,
It probably,
three.
like the kind of jolt you'd have two magnets in the same area.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now
these
here's-
objects have stronger magnetic fields than the sun.
Here's
So-
before the objects came in.
Yeah.
You go one more frame.
Okay, so I'm curious to see if it had taken its energy from the corona.
Yeah, I believe they do.
Well,
And-
definitely proven that the corona is
Yeah,
diminishing.
the reason
over the last
why
4 years.
we know that they do is, say, some of them, like the large blue one, basically it was shedding its own material that was clinging to its surface. And then we see that it's actually forming a connection with the sun's corona. You see the sun's corona enveloping the object. So it seems to be drawing the plasma from the sun. And then we have evidence of several of these objects being in the solar system. They have plasma ejections. Some of them start emitting light. This is why our atmosphere is being illuminated by magenta colored light, because these objects eventually start emitting light. And I call them rejuvenated then, and I used to call them brown dwarf stars. I started calling them stellar cores or stellar remnants now, just to differentiate between these objects and what the term used to refer to brown dwarfs, which are substellar objects. So, and basically that's what they are. They stellar cores. They're the cores of stars with just a little bit of ionized gas or the envelopes around them. And then they absorb energy from the sun and they start emitting light, because we have both kinds. We've now observed both kinds. We've observed the blue one that is basically solid surface. So it's a naked stellar core with just about nothing attached to it, absorbing some of the sun's plasma. We have the 2012 one, that a small one that was about half the size of Jupiter in the sun's corona. And that had a sort of an umbilical cord connecting it to the sun's surface. So it was obviously drawing plasma from the sun as well. And the object was dark in the sun's corona. So we know they are able to absorb plasma from the sun, and we know that eventually they are able to emit light again and obviously operate much like they did as main sequence stars. So this means that this is what they do. They absorb plasma from the sun, and then they ionize a thin layer of gas around the core, and they start operating like main sequence stars, which time I call them rejuvenated.
Yeah,
But
they've been proven that they can rejuvenate. I mean, there's scientists have already, been screaming about it already. I've read the articles over the last 2 years, and proven that a brown dwarf can rejuvenate to the point where it can produce visible light.
Yes. And also a lot of the observations that they are making of brown dwarfs is they're actually confusing brown dwarfs with stellar cores. Because some of these brown dwarfs are doing something that we see the stellar cores in the solar system are doing, like having plasma ejections. and say the lumen AB system has two so-called brown dwarfs with exactly the same luminosity and acting as if they are moving together as one. So it's not likely that you have real objects that formed as stars or brown dwarfs that have exactly the same luminosity after formation. This is extremely unlikely. So I would say that these objects are actually stellar cores, but because they're so far away, they don't realize what they actually are. And because a lot of them are low light emission stars, or they emit mainly infrared radiation, they put them all into one basket. They're all brown dwarfs. They don't realize that probably most of them are actually what I used to call brown dwarf stars that I now call stellar cores.
Okay.
So they're old.
So do you guys see what is turning over here from the left?
Yes.
That's that big sunspot, AR 2665. They're going to be renaming it. They're going to be renaming it as soon as it becomes visible around this corner. And if you take a very close look, you can see a lot of plasma loops. I mean, you're looking at a monster coming around the sun, folks.
So this is Earth facing?
Yeah, this is going to be Earth facing in about 7 days, and then we're going to be looking at it for, I think, 10 or 12 days. 14 days, it could have an effect on Earth if there is any type of CME that comes off. It's already produced 3 massive blasts.
Yes.
And it's pretty bad. It's pretty strong. If anybody should be afraid of anything, it should be this right now. I mean, this could be an event. You know, it could be pretty bad.
I can certainly feel the heat from the sun these days.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just instantly burn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that also has to do with the fact that our ozone layer seems to be depleted. So we get ultraviolet C radiation coming through, which will cause your skin to feel burnt almost immediately.
Right. Well, I know, like in
it's
the ozone layer starts from the south, right? And it's eating up towards the North Pole.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to actually be stronger at a higher latitude than at the equator. But what happens is the geoengineering, it's destroyed by small particles in the atmosphere. Because the ozone the oxygen that would form into ozone would rather combine with these small particles like nano-size aluminum, rather than combine with other oxygen molecules to form the ozone. So it means that the ozone gets depleted by the small particles in the atmosphere. And that's due to geoengineering and also the large numbers of volcanic eruptions that we may be getting.
Well, I'll tell you what, whenever this bad boy faces Earth, we may see all hell break loose. Look at the extension of those plasma loops. They have to be, they have to be hundreds of thousands of miles off the face of the Earth, or off the face of the sun. They're massive.
Very intense.
Yeah. And just imagine, you know, the days that Earth is going to be, you know, within the reach of all of this. I mean, we're not just talking pinpoint to pinpoint. This fans out into, you know, a huge V pattern. And, you know, it will basically envelop the Earth. No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
You know, even if we get skirted by one of these blasts, you know, we're going to have some serious problems on this planet.
That's right, Scott. I mean, this sunspot group has already erupted with some huge CMEs. I mean, people were using the term kill shot with respect to them. We certainly don't want one of these hitting our planet.
I mean, this is pretty much what I've said from the very beginning of my investigations into what's happening in our solar system. Is, you know, we don't have to fear a planet hitting our planet, you know, this planetary collision stuff. Our biggest fear should come from what is happening on the sun, the interaction with these objects, and how the sun is reacting. And
well, I think
the sun could be our biggest enemy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's what's causing the global warming. And I think what's going to happen when this thing gets at its closest point, could lose a lot of our life, and then probably go into an ice age.
Well, I don't think.
Oh my God, are you listening to that Lee Wilbur too much?
I don't think so.
No. I'm just saying that we have the powers that be are creating their artificial suns, and I'm just talking biblically, because they say that something's going to strike the Earth and it's going to lose 2/3 of its light.
Well, I'll tell you this much:
So I wonder, it could be the brown dwarf doing it.
Yeah, if we have a situation like the last ice age has already been proven to be, it was induced by multiple volcanic eruptions that basically blocked out the sun, spewed, you know, tons and tons and tons of volcanic ash and debris into the atmosphere, which then blocked out the sun. And there was a small climate change that didn't last for eons, but it was enough to, you know, cause crops to die, the weather patterns to change, and then, you know, it gradually went away and the Earth warmed itself back up. So if we have a situation like this, where we have intense pressure placed on our planet already when it's in a fragile state, because I think it is. I think our Earth has been battered to hell over the last year and a half. So it's just a matter of time before we get hit with something big and all hell breaks loose. If we have a super volcano blast, we're screwed.
Yeah,
we're screwed.
I think something may happen that causes it all to go at the same time.
That's what I'm saying. So
there is. I live in California. You got Yellowstone, you got Mammoth, you got one thing after another. Fault lines that just aren't broken yet.
You got Mount Rainier up there. You got Mount St. Helens. You got a lot of big volcanoes and buttes all over that area. And the jet stream pattern brings all of that ash and debris from the west to the east, blanketing the entire center part of this country. And then
I wanted to touch on a topic when you get a chance.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you know about the fake sun. We talk about that all the time. I was kind of this question gets asked so much. I think people might want to be curious of what do you think is going to happen? What are we going to see when we get the total actual solar eclipse? Because I've always believed the fake sun is hiding these eclipses.
That's what I've been saying. Me and the doctor have been talking about it every day.
Yeah.
Like those dark sun halos, we see that. I believe that's a partial or a full eclipse, and then the fake sun continues to shine. So they're going to have to turn this thing off so they can see a legit solar eclipse caused by the moon.
To tell you the truth, Jeff, I think that we wouldn't be getting an eclipse anyway, because don't forget, the Earth is wobbling. The sun is not coming up in the same position that it used to because of this Earth wobble. The moon seems to be out of place at times. And these eclipses are calculated based on the fact that everything is in the right place. We know the Earth is wobbling, it's not in the right place. So it's unlikely that we would get an actual eclipse. And I think what they will do is fake the eclipse.
Well,
because they have moon simulators, they have sun simulators, they can easily fake it.
Yeah.
And otherwise, they will just produce cloud cover so that no one can see it anyway. So I think that's what will happen. But as to the sun, I've been thinking of for a while now of what we can expect to happen to the sun. It's obvious that it's getting weaker because we can see that the coronal holes are getting larger. And I don't mean that it's not active. I think the activity we're seeing on it is actually a symptom of its weakness. Because as it gets weaker, it's less able to hold on to its surface plasma. And I realize what happens with stars when they go into the red giant phase. And that is the energy drop. So the ionization layer probably moves inwards towards the core. And then all the material outside this high ionization layer is basically accelerated outwards. And this is why the star grows in size. So with the sun, as it gets weaker, it finds it more and more difficult to hold on to its outer layer of plasma, which is why then it's easier for any CME to accelerate away from the surface. So we'll get larger and larger CMEs this way as it gets weaker. And you can see here in the ghost image, these coronal holes are getting. Basically, the whole surface of the sun now that is facing Earth is one large coronal hole. And this is what I said months ago, that it looks like the sun is turning into one large coronal hole. And this is because there are so many of these objects around the sun absorbing plasma, connecting magnetically, so that these ionized particles are leaving the surface of the sun as they spiral along these magnetic field lines. And there's so much plasma drawn from the sun that of course, we can see it seems to be getting weaker. And this is what would happen. So as it gets weaker, we'll get more and more of these CMEs. They will keep on getting stronger. And eventually it's possible that the sun itself will start growing in size like it would as it turns into a red giant. Now, I don't know how long that will take. That might even take hundreds of years yet. But it seems to me that when I looked at the size of this coronal hole, that the sun is weakening fast.
Yep, at least this third of the sun that we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we've been seeing this constantly, nonstop. You know, now, like I keep wanting to go back to this damn sunspot coming around. I don't know. You know, over the last 2 weeks, I just have a bad feeling about it. You know, I had a bad feeling about this sunspot whenever it was first labeled. And I kept telling everybody, you know, this one was a bad one. This thing was like 75,000 miles wide. It's big.
Yeah.
But it had a lot of activity. And they all kept saying, there's nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about, no activity, blah, 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 blah. Then the next thing you know, boom, we get a massive coronal mass ejection. And then another one. And then another one. Okay, so now all of a sudden their eyes are lit up a little bit because so many of us have publicized what has been happening with these coronal mass ejections. And now this sunspot's making its way all the way back around the sun to haunt us and stalk us one more time. And this time it's more powerful than it was before. Mm-hmm. And it's no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke. A situation like this with a sunspot that big and that active for that long, that's only telling me one thing. Something, I mean, we know, I mean, it is being fueled. I don't want to just say something, but it is being fueled. And this thing is bad. It's bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with
that. It could almost put you in a loss for words.
Yes.
Just thinking about it. And that's probably been, you know, one of the reasons why I've been losing sleep is because I've been thinking about this damn thing turning back towards us. And the fact of the matter is, where this sunspot is located is almost dead on to where the Earth is located in the equatorial perspective, the equator of the sun. We sit just a little bit lower than that equator, And that is pretty much right where this sunspot is.
Yeah.
So anything that happens, whether it be to the left of us or the right of us or dead on, you know, we're going to have some problems. And the length of time it's going to take to rotate from one side to the other is going to be about 12 to 14 days. So half the distance.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're going to be faced with this for just one day, folks. We're going to be faced with this for 10, 12, possibly 14 days.
Yeah. And already, because we have such huge coronal holes, we will be getting almost continuous impact by fast solar wind particles. And these particles will, of course, impact the magnetosphere because they're very high, very fast. Some of them will go right through the magnetosphere, ionize the ionosphere, and therefore we would then get responses through the induced electric currents that we get inside the Earth. We then get the huge earthquakes. And even though they seem to actually hiding what's happening with the magnetosphere, we still see what happens with the earthquakes. That immediately, when I saw that earthquake in Uganda in Africa, immediately I thought, oh, there's something happening with the magnetosphere. There's obviously fast solar wind particles coming in, because I saw that the number of earthquakes was increasing. So that's a sign in itself.
Absolutely. Hey, Jeff, you know, while I have you on here, I'm not sure if a lot of people have been caught up on your work, but do you want to give us a quick rundown on what you think, your feelings and your investigations and what you've actually found? How is this sun simulator working? How are they tricking us is what I want to know. I mean, I've done a lot of this research with you and we've collaborated on a lot of things, but I just want to turn it over to you, if you don't mind, and let everybody know your thoughts on this, because it may open a few eyes.
Okay, well, I believe it. There was a patent on it, and I believe it to be the size of one of the mirror devices, the size of a tennis court, and it's always in a heliosynchronous orbit, so that it's always pretty much directly in front of the sun. However, if I turn over that black spot that you see is basically what you see. I guess I have to show you pictures. Kind of hard to tell you. I'd have to show you pictures. That's what we're really buzzing over something virtual. I have to show you. Like, let me take over this thing real quick. I can show you the patents, and let's see if I pull up the. Just give me a second to pull this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here is a picture of the patented of the device,
blow that up,
sun simulator. Here is what ever to be the hexagonal light emitter. Now, it could be possible this could be reflected surface, but I do believe it to be a very powerful light source. I'm not sure. It does seem to have all the characteristics of a high-powered LED. And then the light this is just showing the path of light. Conceptual drawing. It's not even the actual device itself. It's just showing the path of light. So the light would bounce through this curvature mirror, focus it on this lens here, go through the hole within the curvature mirror, bounce off this device here. And this, I believe, to be a spinning device, which now, as we're getting a clear picture on it, if you're looking down the barrel of this thing, you will see this spinning dot like in my other videos. And this light comes off at an angle. And that's the problem with this sun simulator, because this light is approaching the Earth at these angles. It's no longer, because it's so small compared to our sun, that you're going to get what I call like this flashlight effect. And so I had some other pictures here. Okay, so here's some more drawings of it, of this disc here with more drawings. This hexagonal light source, which seems to reflect why we have the hexagonal sun.
Yeah,
And then,
I've gotten all different shapes.
Yeah.
Photographs.
And now, I guess, so here I believe to probably be the actual light source itself. Now, there's a lot of debunkers that say this is whatever. I don't care. This thing has the exact shape and characteristics of what I've discovered in the sky. And it's really flooded the internet with this, because it certainly compares what I've seen over FAA cams and everywhere of this same light. Now, I believe it passes through a lens, which I believe to now be the lens array. We almost saw that in my earlier videos. We see this curvature here, and it's casting this light like it changing the focal point. That's how these planets are hidden. And so it seems as though the James Webb telescope has the exact same characteristics of this whole thing. And this looks like this could be supporting the that spinning disk out in outer space. And let's see if we can find some other okay, see if here's some bigger pictures of it, of this golden lens of them been working on this James Webb telescope, which they're supposed to launch this thing in 2000. This thing basically will fold up into a small rocket. There's videos on it. You can look this up, the James Webb telescope.
Yeah, I did see this.
Yeah. Oh, here's a neat one too. This cross thing here. You see this? I believe that to be probably more evidence of that sun similar. You can even see it's casting its like armature shadow across the atmosphere. You get the lens just right. I think you have to have, not everybody gets to see that black dot. Now, I've shown pictures of this black dot, and there's debunkers that try and say, oh, it's been debunked because someone went and bought a cheap camera, and now you can always get this stuff. However, if you're going to say that it's on the camera lens, then it should always be on always on the same camera. I mean, it's not going to go off and on. It's either always on or it's always off. You know what I mean with that, right?
Yeah.
So if they went, powers that be went and got themselves some cheap cameras that always pull it off, I doubt it's going to be the spinning one. But you have to be in the...
Yeah, I didn't buy that excuse either.
Have you guys actually seen the black dot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just people seeing it now with the naked eye. Let's see if I had try and pull together my videos here. Yeah, my lens, just how objects are hidden, real simple by simply distorting the light with a simple lens. However, I don't believe that these lenses are the conventional lenses like in this one, by simply changing the focal point of video of the object through the lens. You can actually watch it literally disappear. And so I use that as an example how this system is used. Again, the Australian sunset, I find it interesting that this is more captured over Australia in some areas, but now this seems to be falling apart. But I'm not saying like physically. I think whatever object it is, it can no longer converge or bend the light like it needs to. So now we're getting like this weird distortion one, like in my other video. If I could pull up that video with a fabric, let's see if I can pull this up. Now, in my other video, you can see the fabric now is even being exposed. Now, this is the same sunset you almost get every single day. I don't want to say that's on a camera, but now I am getting more and more proof that this is not covering the whole sky, but I believe over like a few constellations, perhaps. And I'm suggesting probably the Orion belt or Virgo or somewhere like Leo.
Well, actually, it must follow the sun's position in the sky somehow, isn't it, Jeff?
Right, right. Let's see if I can find a. Let's see if I can find my.
There are entirely too many anomalies that are being captured on video.
Oh, here we go.
And photographs all around the world. I mean, if we would put all of our data together just over the past year and a half, I mean,
now
there's so much.
You guys see this picture here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this
is Zion Warrior. He lives out in Florida. Again, this is south. Right? How come we're not seeing this like in the northern areas? I mean, maybe it's just the angle of light, the way this thing hits, but I have yet to see it with any camera that I have. You know, I actually mounted a camera and I aimed it right at the sun to try and catch these dark halos and crazy stuff. And so I believe that, you know, not everybody's going to be able to get their camera out and spot this lens. And let's see, I had another video about this black dot. Oh, this is sorry, a little bit disorganized for this. Oh, remember this one with the Fresnel lens?
Yeah, that's the picture from the lady from Germany that sent me that.
Yeah, I still believe that that's out there, and it's probably, I think, located in front of that spinning cube mirror thing that I showed in some of my other videos.
Yeah, she took that photograph. She's an old school photographer. She uses regular black and white 35mm film and some other kind of a process.
Now,
and, it was
what
pretty
do you think about that picture right there? Do you think that could have housed, that would have been?
What is that?
Well, these are the black balls that are falling all around the world in bizarre ways. And when they come on these things, they're like these radiation suits.
Wow.
Right? And okay, look at this.
Oh,
yeah.
See this guy in this radioactive suit here? When they come up on this ball and they're falling in fields all around the world.
Wow.
Now, is this thing like getting hot and falling out? I mean, you know, I only consider all the theories, but you know, if this would have been like some kind of rocket gas tank, wouldn't it have been bigger though?
Where did that fall?
Yeah.
Where did that hit?
You know what? You could find these on the internet. I actually don't know. That's a good point though, because
like a Hispanic country
and the time and the timing of these. And here's another one where a dog came up on this one. This is kind of curious looking. And maybe it could be a rocket motor, whatever. Hey, I like to see collaborating photos. I just find it interesting. These things are falling all over.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Where the rest of it?
I did hear a little bit about this a few months ago when one of these objects just fell out of nowhere. And it got publicized a little bit, and then, you know, the information gets shut down. People forget about it. It goes nowhere. That's pretty interesting.
Remember these halos? I mean, because they remember these halos, right?
Yeah.
And notice how the light from the center of this core will change, just like a flashlight, because it's a lower altitude clouds. Will give you the bigger flashlight or a bigger sun, and yet the outer rim will never change.
Yes.
It holds the same steady size.
Yeah, I see that too.
One from a Fox News webcam. Check this one out. This one is even more obvious. Now notice, even the halo's not even at this picture. You could see the halo, like more light on the bottom. Well, more light here, right here. Do you see that?
Oh yes.
You see how like it's moving in this direction? Like it's not even an even light source. And look how much light this thing totally fluctuates in size. And that's impossible if that would have been the real sun.
Yeah, look at that.
See how big it is?
Yeah.
Low altitude, just like a flashlight. You know, like in those examples I left. That came up. I was trying to explain this to my wife, and like, I don't get it. And I finally thought of that piece of paper example. Like, aha, that would do it. That would show how this. And again, these eclipses here, that we keep seeing these so-called sundogs right there. I've captured this over and over again, and I watched it in time lapse, and you can actually watch the light just eclipse. I go, man, that's what that is. Sit there and watch the sun eclipse this thing, and they were spraying like crazy, and right at the right moment, this thing lights up the sky, and then it disappears.
Yeah, that's interesting there too.
Yeah. Let's see that. We got a good one here. We'll pull this up. Oh yeah, this is the one showing the reflected dot on the water. Right?
Yeah, I'd like to know how that's possible.
Yeah. Well, then people said, you know what? If that's something that's on the camera, then it better be on every single camera.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You just turn off and on.
It's amazing.
Either that lens is gonna, and why would it rotate?
Yeah.
More and more people are
Very
pointing their
strange.
cameras at the sky, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what we need.
Oh, remember this one too? This one's pretty breathtaking. Oh yeah, no, that's the Truman Show. I put that in one of my videos. Nothing to see here, folks. Just a sun simulator lamp falling out. Well, did I cover everything? I don't know if I answered all the questions, but I'm kind of scatterbrained, I guess.
Oh no, that's no problem. It's some good footage, man. Because I know you get to document a lot of this, and it's good stuff.
I got a good one for you. Watch this one. Oh, this is a snapshot. This plasma event. Here's the video footage. I believe this is a Planet X related event. Now, people watch this in full stream. It all happened in a blink of an eye. This person was out camping. They pan the camera to the right and then back to the left. And then in a blink of an eye, this happens. Well, this is slowed down. This is not the full speed. And they're like, what the heck was this? Space-time distortion, right?
Whoa, that was pretty crazy.
Let's see if I can pull this up to full speed. It all happened in a blink. And what I want to say is, like, my theory is this is a plasma discharge, just like we've seen from the ancient drawings, that the plasma has superheated the air, distorting light, and that's why it like appears to pull the horizon down right from the camera. And here's my biggest clue is that when I freeze it right here, you see this stepper leg thing here?
Yeah.
That looks just like the ancient artwork all around the world that we see, this plasma art. These same all around the world. China. I mean, it just go to the Thunderbolt project. You know, I had to copy some of the pictures, but this during the plasma bowl experiments, this is where they decided that this was a plasma event, and these are the two planets reacting with each other with a torus coil. And so this is an actual plasma bowl experiment, and we were observing this where the light is the concentrate the highest is at the edges of this plasma glass. And if you remove the artwork, we're going to get these stick figures that are worldwide. But whenever we saw this, we could see the same reaction. So I thought that was pretty epic to me that we're seeing.
That's pretty interesting. I've seen those gifts before, those artifacts, hieroglyphs.
Oh, I got it going for you. You ready for this one? This one's a pretty slam dunk for me. Now, this one here, I have caught myself, but I want you to see, keep your eyes focused here. First of all, where's the sun? You could look at the timestamp that this thing just turns off and on with no setting of the sun. Okay, wouldn't the sun be over here to the left, by the way?
Yeah, exactly.
So they were just test firing this thing on the dark side of the Earth, and this thing like turns off and on. And again, tell me that doesn't start to look like some of the halos we've seen, right?
Yep, that's what I'm saying, man. I think the International Space Station has something to do with the operation of this sun simulator.
Exactly. I think it. I'm wondering, is it even possible that it could be the reflected mirror on the sun side reflecting the light onto the simulator?
It's possible, because you got to think about it, Jeff.
It stays out of the shadow of the planet. It still remains in the sunlight and angles around it and hits the sun simulator.
Yeah, and who has a better perspective of the Earth but the people in the space station?
So that's a theory that I kind of toy around with that possibility. And more of the James Webb Telescope guys building this. That I can't believe they spent millions of dollars and they hadn't even launched it yet. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was supposed to be launched quite a while ago.
Well, you go to their webpage. They said it's sometime next year.
It's probably already up there.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, very interesting. I truly believe that the deception is definitely real. It's big time. I mean, look, we've never seen anomalies like this in our skies our entire lives. Now, all of a sudden last year and, half of this year, we're seeing even more and more. But what I like is more and more people paying attention, looking up at the sky, taking these pictures, and it's happening around the world. And this is exactly what we need. People documenting it and getting it sent in to one of us.
Yeah.
So one of us could at least publish it and get it out there to the masses.
Yep. I agree. Anybody's had pictures that collaborate with this stuff, you can send it to Jeff P 427. We'll put it somewhere on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, listen, everybody. If you're looking for Jeff's channel, all you got to do is go to my homepage, and there on the right hand side, featured channels, there is Aussie, Prep Aussie, and the Doctor's channel, and also Jeff P's channel. They're all featured. You click right on his icon, takes you right to his YouTube channel. So if anybody's looking for that link, it's right there. Yeah, that was some amazing stuff there. I mean, I do watch all your videos as of lately. I haven't been watching too much. I've just been so enthralled in a lot of these recent events and putting a lot of work into them. That's a lot of computer time. Sitting there and trying to dig out the information out of what we're given, and it takes a lot of time, man. I had a migraine the other day, just probably from staring at my computer for 14 hours nonstop working, and put me down for a day. Yeah, that's for sure. But there's no doubt we're seeing very, very strange things in the sky. Let me ask you something, Jeff. You're out on the West Coast. What does your sky look like at like 10, 11 o'clock at night? Do you just have that pink haze over the horizon and like a dark navy blue sky? Because I don't see black skies anymore, man.
No, I'm seeing cloudy nights and sunny days. I mean, chemtrail nights.
Oh, they're chemtrailing at night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dirty.
That's
See, now
crazy.
here on the East Coast, it's clear, but the sky is a dark navy blue, like a dark navy bluish gray color. And right above the horizon, from one end to the other, it's got this dark pink cast to it. And it's every single night. Every single night.
Well, I'm going to have to go. I really love hanging out with you guys. I wish we started a little earlier next time. And
yeah, not a problem, man. Just let me know.
But if anybody has collaborating photos of this bizarre sun and show me some of the stuff that we've shown here, please email them to me. I'm very interested to show it. You want the credit, I'll give it to you. So I'm no glory hog here, because this is some fascinating stuff. And if you doubt any stuff, just go read the comments and look at the collaboration of everybody saying, hey, I saw this. There was a guy, a Marine, that said, I was going to mock your channel. And then until he took a picture of the sun and he saw something that scared him, made him want to puke. Oh, that's what I'm here for, man.
Absolutely. You're doing a great job, buddy. You have absolutely fantastic work. And next time you get some free time, you want to come back on, just give me some notice, shoot me an email or give me a call is the best way. Because today I just noticed I wasn't getting anybody's emails because once again, I was kind of full and I had to go through and start,
You know what? Let me close this out with those pictures real quick. You still see my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
This one here, again, this is the kind of photos that I'm looking for. Ones like this one. Okay. I mean, that just looks like something out of a sci-fi magazine, man. Doesn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's like worlds colliding. Just letting this light through, the sun behind this whole thing. So, they're doing an excellent job bending the clouds around this object,
What you ought to do, Jeff, is start taking some screenshots of this and use your editing tool. We use the same, video program on Windows 10 and go through some of those lighting changes and those contrast changes. And you may be discovering a hell of a lot more than what you're seeing right there.
Yeah.
That's what I spend a lot of my time doing. And sometimes that is the only way to find the object, even more of what they're hiding.
Yeah. Well, this one here looks like, we're capturing the setting sun. And I don't think everybody's going to catch this. You need to be where that lens array is. It's not, always in front of the sun.
Yeah, that's definitely an odd photograph.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, we got this on video. We got old webcam in Mexico. It seems to be south, whatever it is. And I suspect that it's somewhere near the Orion's belt.
Very interesting. Yeah, buddy, if you come up with something else that's, brand new, I know you're coming up with stuff almost every day or so. Yeah, just let me know. Drop me an email, and we'll definitely get together back on here, and we'll get it out to everybody. And listen, once again, folks, Jeff P., his link to his YouTube channel is on my homepage on my YouTube channel, right-hand side, featured channels. Just click on his link. If you're not subscribed to Jeff's channel, you're missing a lot. Make sure you get there, subscribe, send him in photographs that you catch of these sun halos or any anomalies with the sun. Get them over to him, and let's get them examined. But yeah, Jeff, when you get some free time, buddy, just give me an email or drop me a call, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you, and God bless everyone.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay. Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff P.'s been doing some phenomenal work and spending a lot of time and hours like we do trying to uncover the deception in the sky. And there's a lot of it, folks. There is a lot of it. And as I've said before, you got to think outside of the box a little bit here. And you have to understand that these space agencies and our governments, they are so far advanced. Some say 50, 60, some say 100 years more advanced than we even can fathom. So, we always have to keep our guard up and keep pointing those cameras to the sky and keep documenting what's happening and getting it out there to the masses. I mean, that's the bottom line, man. We're doing a pretty good job of it, but folks, there are billions of people on this planet that have no idea what the hell is going on. And I think we owe it to everybody, just as a human species, to help each other out and try to solve this. I don't think we're ever going to stop it, but at least we could make people aware of it. That's what I think. Anyways, Doctor, what do you think? Are you still with me, Doctor?
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think about the deception in the sky?
Well, of course they keep hiding what's really happening. And yeah, we have so many objects, and they keep increasing, and they keep getting brighter because they're absorbing energy from the sun. And of course, that's what they are doing. They have been doing it for 30 years, hiding it. Obviously, it's getting more and more difficult to do it.
Yes, and they've had a long time to develop all of this stuff. And
yes,
Lord only knows if they've had some outside help, like they always say, the extraterrestrial help with the government. But I don't want to get into all that. But listen, folks, we're going to go ahead and cut this live stream a little short. And you can guarantee I'll be back with some newly uncovered information. Probably while you're sleeping tonight, something will occur. Don't forget, we have this sunspot moving back towards us very, very shortly. You're going to see a lot of reports on it. It's all going to be important information. So make sure you watch the videos, take in the information, pass it along on your Twitter account or your Facebook. Get people talking about it. That's the best thing to do. But I'm going to cut this short. It was great having all of you with us, and great having Jeff P. on with us. And he'll be back again. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. Make sure you set your notifications. And once again, thank all of you. I thank all of you very, very much for being here with us tonight. Take care.